Now to a 22 News I-Team follow-up on crumbling concrete impacting more than 36 communities in western and central Massachusetts.
The governor vetoed a section of the budget about testing quarries in the state for the mineral that causes crumbling concrete. But as 22 News I-Team reporter Taylor Knight explains, that doesn't mean the legislation is dead.
That's right. Governor Healey had an issue with the potential start date of this legislation that would require quarry testing. This testing would prevent more homes and buildings from being built with crumbling concrete. Lawmakers approved an amendment to the fiscal year 2024 budget that would require quarries in the state are tested for pyrrhotite, the mineral that causes concrete to crumble when it's exposed to oxygen and water. The only way to fix this is through a process that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars and is not covered by insurance. Michelle Leglissi is a Munson homeowner with a crumbling foundation.
We want to be addressing this as we are building homes and other facilities for people to live in, that we want to make sure we're using quality materials.
The budget amendment would require MassDOT create a new department and licensure process to oversee quarries that produce concrete aggregate in the state. This department would test to make sure the concrete being used does not contain pyrrhotite.
If we decided to replace our foundation, we wouldn't be putting bad concrete back into the new foundation. You certainly want to make sure that this is dealt with before we go too much further, because the longer it goes without this testing, the longer we could be pouring foundations like this in Massachusetts.
Governor Healey, though, vetoed this amendment in a letter to lawmakers. She makes it clear that she supports the legislation, but she doesn't think the state can get it implemented by the original deadline of the end of this year. Instead, Governor Healey is asking lawmakers to amend that date to July 1st of next year to give the state more time to get everything in place. Lawmakers can now either approve the veto and accept that new July start date or override the governor. Either would need to happen by November 15th, the end of the legislative session. Impacted homeowners are also pushing for another piece of legislation that would create a fund to help them pay to replace their crumbling foundations. That bill is now being considered by a joint committee of lawmakers at the State House. Working for you with the 22 News I-Team, I'm Taylor Knight.